Welcome to Flip the Switch. My name is Jesse Allen. I'm Vice President of Marketing here at LifeVantage. I am with Dr. Brian Dixon, our Senior Vice President of Research and Development, and Ryan Goodwin, our Chief Marketing Officer. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This is fun.
Stoked.
So we're and you know, it's kind of awkward always to start an episode like this in a conversation because this is us talking about this. This is going to be fun. So. Maybe just a little introduction because at the end of the day, this is primarily a podcast. We've got the video, but most people are going to be listening to this. But just an introduction, most everybody knows who you guys are and what you do, but for maybe those that are new that don't, just a little bit about who you are and your background. So Senior Vice President of Research and Development, you've been with LifeVantage for what, 6-8 months now?
I think we're at 8 months.
At 8 months.
It's just flown by. It's been great.
Flying. Okay, PhD in, I want to say molecular biology, but I don't think that's right.
No, that's right, molecular and cellular biology.
Okay, and you studied at Oregon State?
Oregon State University, in conjunction with the Linus Pauling Institute.
Tell me okay, I hear that all the time, but what is the Linus Pauling Institute?
The Linus Pauling Institute is this amazing research institute that was founded by its namesake, Professor Linus Pauling. Linus Pauling is an incredibly interesting man, definitely, if you're a nerd, definitely one of the world's leading chemists and biologists in the world. I mean, he's quite often equated to Einstein. You know, what Einstein did for mathematics, he really did for biology and chemistry. And he was the only individual to ever win 2 unshared Nobel Prizes. A lot of people argue he could have won as many as 21 Nobel Prizes for all of the different arms of research that he was into. You know, for example, he described the first molecular disease in hemophilia, or sickle cell anemia. Mm-hmm. So how your blood cells kind of take on this sickle shape and have a hard time getting through, especially the small capillaries in our bloodstream. Invented probably the first synthetic blood that was out there to help support the war effort. I mean, et cetera, et cetera. But as Linus Pauling was winding down his career, he got really interested in the role that nutrition was playing in health and even disease. And so to kind of fund that curiosity, he spun out of his academic endeavors and started a private research institution so that he could study this love of his, and that's the role of nutrition in health. And he's really who I consider the father of modern nutrition. If it wasn't for Dr. Pauling and a lot of the work that he put into nutrition, especially around vitamin C and its role in health and wellness, fighting the FDA to keep the FDA from regulating nutritional supplements as a pharmaceutical drug, I don't think we would be where we are today without him. So it was an honor to do my graduate work there for sure.
So was and this is just ignorance on my part, was he still there when you were studying, or?
No, he passed away in 1993 or 1994.
Okay.
At the age of 93.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, so just before I had gotten there.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's and then your PhD from Oregon State, and then you've really been in the industry, both on the product development side, the research side, as well as a little bit of marketing as well.
Yeah.
For the past, about 15 years?
Yeah, just about.
Perfect.
So stayed on in postdoc for a short stint at the Linus Pauling Institute, and then got recruited away to this nutritional industry, and it's been perfect. You know, to be in research and development, reading the scientific literature, and then being able to design the products that are ultimately going to help improve the human condition. It's just been a wonderful ride, and I've loved every second of it.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So Ryan, Chief Marketing Officer for LifeVantage, that's one of your many things. Like your background is pretty, it's impressive for sure. A number of things you've done. You've been a business owner more than once, right?
Yes.
Brand developer, created brands. You're a creative avant-garde, but and also identify yourself as a professional biohacker.
Yeah, that's my favorite title.
Well, tell us a little bit though. Just give us like the nutshell of your work history, because it really is very impressive, and some of the brands that you've worked with in the past is really, really impressive that I don't think people know or aware of, and then tell us this favorite title of biohacker, what that
Sure, I'd be happy
means.
to. So I started my career after graduating in graphic design from Brigham Young University. Just a few months later, one of my classmates from school actually approached me about starting a design studio together. And he had a client that wanted to be him to be doing all their visual brand work. They're getting ready to launch. It was a network marketing company. And I had never been exposed to network marketing company, but the founders of this company told us that they wanted to look like a consumer brand like Coke. And considering we'd just gotten out of school, of course we wanted to work on Coke, but the next best thing is make something brand new
look like
as
Coke?
good as Coke. And so we were in total designer heaven. We did their first project, their start kit, and they liked it so much they called us their visual brand managers, and then they grew really quickly. And here in Utah is a lot like Silicon Valley is to tech. There's a lot of, it is to network marketing. So network marketing here is really prominent. There's a lot of network marketing companies here. I guess the business climate here is perfect for that. So with the rise of this company, most people were looking at what they were doing and thought that their secret sauce must be the work that we were doing. I don't know if it was the secret sauce. I'm sure it was one of the ingredients in that recipe for sure. But we ended up building 3 different network marketing brands, and if you were to combine the revenue that those 3 brands did in their first 3 years is in between $3 and $4 billion.
Wow.
With it being pretty crazy. But at the same time, my agency was making an international name for itself, doing digital work for Fortune 500 brands. So we were doing websites for pretty much every fun brand right out of Salt Lake City here, like BMW and Nike and Adidas and Hasbro and Nintendo, and the list goes on and
that's incredible.
On and on and on. Yeah. So since then, I've started a number of different agencies. I've started a number of different normal companies, and it actually never worked for anyone else until LifeVantage.
And you've been helming the marketing at LifeVantage for 4 years?
It's already been 5.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy. I also feel like I just got here. Finally, may not be wet behind the ears any longer, but like just barely. But to answer your second question, a professional biohacker, I identify as a biohacker, meaning I look to take control of my own biology. Mm-hmm. I want to look at my entire environment that I create inside my body and try to optimize it as far as I possibly can. Mostly because I'm trying to get my best brain performance, because I've got a lot of stuff I want to accomplish, right? And in order to do any of those things, I need full brain capacity, baby.
Yeah.
The professional part of it is around expanding my experiments, if you will. I try to basically try everything that I can do, that I can afford, so I can assimilate it and share it with thousands of biohackers around the world as a conduit of this biohacking message. And that's what a professional biohacker does.
Got it. Okay. So we'll never have to do that again, right? We're going to be doing these podcasts on a regular basis. We'll never have to do the introduction again, which kind of feels awkward. But thanks for humoring me. Professional biohacker, and always looking to optimize the brain potential. What hacker, like I guess you probably don't ever focus on a specific hack, right? I know in our weekly meetings we talk about who's got a hack to share that they're working on or they're doing, but what's a hack that you're focused on right now?
One hack that I'm focused on right now is spending the right amount of time in my infrared sauna. So I'm in there 20 to 30 minutes a few times a week.
Yeah. How about you?
My hack? I'm obsessed with sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep, just as you assume, sets up your entire day. I've had trouble sleeping my entire life, so I'm obsessed with sleep. Going to bed at the same time, making sure the bed's comfortable, blackout curtains on the windows. I love to wake up to a light alarm, so using just kind of a slowly brightening light to wake up. I'm obsessed with sleep, and it's just so important for so many aspects of health.
Yeah, so you got a whole host of things you've thrown in there, right?
It's that constant experimentation.
Blackout curtains. So one thing that I've been doing a lot, and I know Ryan, you do cryotherapy, not cryotherapy maybe in the traditional sense, but I'm just doing hot cold showers right now.
Cold
right?
thermogenesis.
Yeah, post workout, right? So hot shower, and then I'll fill my tub with ice cold water, dump the ice into it, and so I've been doing that every morning. And I'll jump in.
I love it.
I try to sit in it for like 30 seconds, right? Like this morning, like the first time I jumped in, I couldn't freaking catch my breath. So I was in for like 15 seconds, then I had to get out, back in the hot shower, and then back in. But
I think that feels so good.
no, it feels so good. Like I was actually really cool, like how I felt when I got out this morning, and just anyways.
Tell me you didn't want to conquer the world right after.
Bro, I'm gonna conquer.
You probably
the world.
did.
I'm taking on the world, taking it on. All right, so let's get into the topic of the day. We're talking nootropics, and specifically our product AXIO as a nootropic. But help us understand what that actually means as far as the term nootropic. Give us a working definition and why we should care about it.
Well, nootropic is a big word with a really small definition, and it's really anything that's going to help cognitive performance. So it can literally be a healthy diet, right? Just feeding the brain with healthy nutrients. It can be those brain exercises that you probably hear about, doing things like crossword puzzles, journaling, reading, really trying to exercise your brain just like you would any muscle in your body. And then I think more of the traditional sense of nootropics are, what are those specific nutrients that we can target to help all that cognitive performance?
Yeah. Okay. So perfect topic, especially where Ryan's primary focus is brain health and cognition. Help us understand then a little bit about AXIO, what it's doing, and how it functions as a nootropic. Because we typically, right, with AXIO, it's both caffeinated. We have two versions, caffeinated and decaf. Quite often we want to think of it, because I would assume because of the caffeine, we think of it as an energy product or an energy drink, and some people are using it that way, and that's great. That's totally fine. But it's so much more than just a substitute for an energy drink. Like, help us understand what's really going on with this product and how it's impacting our brain health and cognitive function.
Yeah, are you okay if we talk a little bit about the biology of the brain and the physiology that's going on there?
Yeah, I think we need to.
Yep, so our brain, believe it or not, only weighs about 3 pounds. So
when you were telling us that earlier, Ryan said, well, maybe yours does, but
I said pound for pound. It's, yeah.
Speak for yourself.
Pound for pound. It's a big brain, pound for pound. I'm just a little guy, so unfortunately I'm a 3-pounder. But really, if you think about it, it's only 3 pounds, and if you just want to throw out there, if you're 300 pounds, that's 1% of your body weight. If you weigh 150 pounds, that's 2% of your body weight. But yet it consumes 20% of the blood flow and oxygen that we're taking in. So pound for pound, your brain is consuming a tremendous amount of resources, even more than your heart, more than your muscles. It's consuming so many resources. And we know what's happening in other parts of our bodies, like our heart, like our muscle. When there's these massive energy requirements, it's going to stress that particular organ or tissue. And because your brain is utilizing so much oxygen, so many calories, so much blood flow, it's also prone to oxidative stress and potentially oxidative damage as well. So what I love about our AXIO product is really you can break the nutrients down into 3 general categories. So I talk about nutritional support, I talk about this sort of nutrigenomic or stimulant ingredients that are in there, and then also a number of antioxidants, whether they're working direct or indirect. So we're talking about all the demands that the brain has to make energy. So that's why those B vitamins and magnesium are in there, to try to help support that energy production, and then also help support through nutrition proper neuronal communication inside of the brain. Then we get into some of these nutrigenomic ingredients, or things that we know work more specifically on neurons, things like caffeine, the DMAE that's in there, and also the L-threonine. So we can specifically target the neuronal aspects of brain health. And then we have direct and indirect antioxidants. So they can be working like nutrigenomics, traditional nutrigenomics. So we've got things like quercetin, green tea extract, pine bark, those are known to activate NRF2, so working as a direct antioxidant. But then you're also utilizing those compounds as antioxidants as well inside of the brain to try to keep that oxidative stress in balance and in check. And then just to focus a little bit more on quercetin, there's great data out there where quercetin can also help support healthy blood flow as well. And so we want to keep that 20% of that blood flow getting to the brain.
Okay, right? So that's a lot different than an energy drink.
A lot different than an
everything
energy
that you
drink.
just explained. Walk through those three. Just tell me those three things again, just so I can keep them in
Nutritional
mind.
support.
Yep.
Then we've got kind of those nutrigenomic ingredients that are working specifically on neuronal targets. And then we've got antioxidants, so those direct and indirect antioxidants.
This may not be a fair question to ask, but someone that's brand new, that's just that hasn't been taking AXIO, and they start using the product. Clearly, they're going to feel the effects of caffeine, right? They're going to just alert and everything that comes with caffeine. But what else would they expect or anticipate to feel and experience as they start using the product?
Yeah, I think most people, like you say, are going to be familiar with that caffeine response. I mean, caffeine is the most utilized psychoactive drug on the planet by far.
Yeah.
So it's probably rare that someone hasn't at least once in their life tried a little bit of caffeine. So people are pretty familiar with that. It can get you pretty amped up and revved up and going. The World Anti-Doping Agency has actually been looking at potentially banning caffeine as a sports enhancing
I didn't realize
drug.
that. Altogether?
Yes, there's great sports performance
Wow.
enhancements that can come from
I don't know how
caffeine.
they would actually do that.
And they kind of go back and forth, and that's where they probably haven't been able to do it. But you get clear benefits, and a lot of that's coming from a lot of the physical exertion through the muscle, but where a lot of athletes see the best benefit is through mental clarity as well. So it's almost like they can almost see into the future about what's coming and be just a little bit sharper.
Yeah.
So you can get that wiry, jittery effect, but then we have those two other ingredients, the DMAE and the L-theanine that's in there, and those tend to be more body calming, but I like to kind of refer to it as kind of an opening or an awakening, and things just seem to get much more clear. So we've got that balance of the caffeine and then the L-theanine and then the DMAE in there as well.
Yeah.
That's when you turn into Bradley Cooper from Limitless.
Limitless. The mental clarity, like that resonated with you when he mentioned mental clarity. Like, is that what you love about the product? Like, what's
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of the main arrows that I have in my quiver to build that mental clarity that I have to rely on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I keep, like, in my mind, I keep coming back to is just what you were talking about, that it consumes 20% of the oxygen and blood flow of the body. But how often, like, I think most of us think, like, we think about our muscular health, right? We want to work out or cardio or whatever, but how much time do we really spend thinking about our brain?
Yeah, not enough.
Isn't that ironic,
Not
right?
enough at
The
all.
thing that gives us the thought we're not even thinking about. And I'm not sure why that is. And maybe it's just the great mystery that we understand very little with how
Yeah.
the brain's actually working. I mean, think about memory storage, for example. How do we form memories with molecules inside of neurons? I mean, it's mind-blowing when you really start to drill down, and how are those molecules stored and then reaccessed, and long-term, short-term memories, turning light cues that come in through the eye into pictures that we can see, turning hairs vibrating inside of our ears into sound that we hear. It's unbelievable how the brain works, and maybe it's that mystery that's kind of kept us away and we're afraid of it a little bit. But the research is coming out that there are definitely things that we can do from a nutritional point of view to help support that brain. And we need to be thinking about our brain. It's been said that as goes the brain, so goes our body.
Yeah, interesting. That is fascinating. Okay, I'm resolving to spend more time on, like, understanding brain health and how to support my brain. That's fascinating. That's cool. You've got an approach with AXIO, something that kind of powers your morning. It's the way you get started. It's a certain recipe that you make, and that you like. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I like to call it fully loaded AXIO.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little bit of a recipe, inspired by David Asprey's Bulletproof Coffee,
Which I think most everybody's heard about.
Yeah, most
Bulletproof
people have heard
coffee.
of Bulletproof Coffee. If they haven't, they've probably heard of like healthy fat coffee or fat coffee.
Yeah.
All of those are derivatives of Dave's idea here. But the basis is getting healthy fats in with, for him, for his coffee. But coffee upsets my stomach a lot of times. So
maybe we should just, like, our typical directions with AXIO are mix with 12 to 16 ounces of water and drink, right?
Yeah.
That's that's on the package. That's what we're saying.
And that
how
works
to
great.
use it. But you've got something that's completely not completely different, but it's different.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
sorry
I'm using about 12 ounces of hot water, and I'm making it into a hot drink like it was coffee, but it's literally a substitute for coffee. And then I'm putting in the healthy fats. So I've got grass-fed butter that I put in there, a tablespoon of grass-fed butter, and then about a tablespoon of C8 caprylic acid MCT oil.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to caprylic acid and MCT oil, you've got to ramp up. So if you're new to MCT oil, I wouldn't just dump in a full tablespoon into this, because it may give you disaster pants, and by may I mean most likely will. So you'd want to probably start, if you're new to MCT oil, you probably want to start with a teaspoon and do that for a few days, and then gradually put in more until you're about a tablespoon. I actually like to put in even a little bit more. And the reason why I really love getting these healthy fats in the morning is that your brain needs a lot of fat, and I forgot exactly how much of the brain is fat.
60% of our brain is fat, and of that, about 75% is specifically like DHA.
Yeah, exactly. And so your brain really loves fat in order to work, and that oxygen consumption is happening with all the mitochondria. I mean, behind your heart and your eyes, I mean, for most people, and then there's women that also have their ovaries, but in the brain is right there with how many mitochondria you have per cell. So you have these tons of mitochondria in there that are all creating energy, and if that energy ever gets diverted elsewhere, then you're going to have a hard time creating the energy that you need in order to have the kind of mental clarity and that cognitive performance that you need to have. So I'm also restricting my eating window, so it's kind of like a fasting-like diet. I'm obviously not fasting because I'm doing this fully loaded AXIO in the morning.
There's calories in all the fat.
Yep, there's a significant amount of calories in that fat.
But I think importantly, leaving the carbohydrates out of there, so you're not going to be getting the insulin spikes. And
I'm getting all the healthy benefits of AXIO, all the polyphenols, NRF2 ingredients, the stimulants in the caffeine, mixed with the healthy fats, and then you blend it all together for about 30 seconds. Now, once it's all done, I like sour cherry. That's my flavor. That's my jam, and it literally tastes like jam and butter toast, but without the carbs. And then it satiates me, and then I start eating around 1.
Okay, it's so first thing in the morning, right? You're
Yeah,
rolling out of bed.
I'm usually having it, probably somewhere between 6 and 7 in the morning.
That's a ton of energy in the true sense of the word, right? With all the calories associated. I mean, a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of MCT oil. I'm not sure the total calorie count there, but that's quite a bit of like.
It's substantial. It's a real breakfast.
Yeah,
It's a breakfast substitute without the carbs.
And it's going to help you feel full and just ready to go for the rest of the day.
You're satiated. You've got all the energy. Your brain has the energy that it needs, and so on any given day, this and the other strategies that I'm doing, I have somewhere in between 0.5 and 0.8 ketones in my blood. I think that's parts per thousand, right? That measurement. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not.
Anyways,
I know the measurement, but I'm not sure the units. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the units either. Full nutritional ketosis is going to be a lot higher than that, but I find that when I have just a few ketones in my blood right there, I don't have to be super crazy dogmatic about everything that I'm eating and totally avoiding carbs, and I'm still going to feel phenomenal and really get that brain performance that I'm looking for.
Cool. Perfect. That's a perfect use of AXIO. This product that is clearly something much more than just an energy drink. I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a graphic and maybe a video of just the recipe that you're talking about and how you make it, and share that out so everybody can see exactly how to do it.
Fully loaded AXIO.
Fully loaded. Now, if I understand correctly, this actually came from one of our members, one of our distributors.
Yeah, they told me that they had been trying it instead of coffee. I'm like, oh, I got to try that out.
Yeah. I love it. Perfect use of the product. So anyways, you guys, great conversation. I love the recipe. I love the different ideas, and I know we're going to try to share some other recipes and other ideas out there. I love the education. Thank you. Understanding the nature of this product and what it's really doing. One, I mean, I don't need to be convinced to use any of our products, but feeling very confident that I'm doing the right thing and using them with this understanding is very helpful. And I'm still just so fascinated by this 20% and what the brain is actually doing. So I am going to figure out how to improve my brain health. Maybe we'll share some of those things on future podcasts. I know coming up in the next little bit, we're going to be talking Protandim NAD Synergizer. We've got that slated for the next week, and then we've got some other great topics over the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this conversation that we're going to be able to have. I've said it before. I love learning from you, Dr. Dixon, on a regular basis, and obviously I love learning from you and just being with you, Ryan. So I'm excited about this, and as the opportunities arise, we'll bring other people, subject matter experts in on topics when it makes sense, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. So first episode's down. I had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and this was beneficial.
Thanks for listening to Flip the Switch, a podcast by LifeVantage. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of LifeVantage or any other agency, organization, employer, or company. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products were not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The employee product experiences shared in this podcast are unique to the individual sharing his or her experiences and are not a guarantee that any consumer will experience the same product results or benefits. If you have any questions about whether or not any LifeVantage product is a product you can take, consult with your healthcare provider.